And as I always say, welcome to the Mr. Wilson's Got a Headache podcast. I'm your host, Dennis the Menace. Do me a favor, like the video, share the video, and subscribe to my channel for future content. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe to my channel for future content. Listen, guys, I'm going to get right to it. It seems like everybody has been responding pretty nicely to these live streams. So I'm going to keep them going, maybe do 2 or 3 a week, and as well as my other videos that you can go find on my channel. And I'm sure by now you already know what the title of the video says. So you should be prepared for this conversation, or at least have an idea as to what this conversation is about. Without further ado, guys, let's take a walk back to 2020, the start of the sickness that shut down the U.S. economy and the world economy. We all know what that is called. There's no reason to say that now. And we remember that during that time, President Donald Trump was the president of the United States of America. There was a fierce battle going on between him and the Democratic Party, Joe Biden. But President Trump was the president. And all of a sudden, we started getting reports of people dying in China, people dying in Europe, people dying all over the world. And the sickness so slowly started to spread all the way from China over to the Western Hemisphere. And the reports were grim. And in some cases, when we didn't really hear a lot of reports from China because they weren't sharing their information. So out of the abundance of caution, President Donald Trump chose to pretty much shut down the U.S. economy just to be cautious, considering at that point we didn't know that the disease was pretty much like a common cold. Nobody can really spite him for that because it was a necessary call at the moment, given the information. But when you have somebody like Donald Trump, a fierce person who usually stands on business, is not someone you can easily intimidate, is not someone that you can just push around, shut down the economy, and come across to the American people and the world on a speech saying that the U.S. economy, the largest economy in the world, was just about to shut down, you have to take it seriously. And at that point, no one really knew what to believe. I know I didn't. I know in the beginning, I had my mask on. I was wearing gloves. I was being careful. I didn't want to touch the gas pump. It was just so many things at that point because you didn't know. And I'm not going to get into what I think about that particular time in history because we're here to talk about the economy. But the economy was shut down. And for you who may not have been following finance during that time, you may not have known that during that time already, the market was predicting a market correction, which, as I've said on several videos that I've done on the economy, stocks, and finance on this channel, go check them out on my channel. A recession or a market correction is a natural part of the cycle. You have to prepare for it. You have to see it as normal. You have to try your best to understand relatively when it's going to happen so you can position yourself properly in the market. And as a result of of that sickness, the economy was shut down and the US government started what is known as quantitative easing. Quantitative easing is simply a fancy word for money printing. Again, in the beginning, I agree with it. It was a good choice. Nobody knew what was happening. And then later down the line, as we all know, Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden was sworn in as president, and the quantitative easing continued. Not only did it continue, it increased in value. I can't remember. I believe there were some stimulus checks that came out under Donald Trump. And then there were maybe some boost in unemployment where you could, I think it was like 450 extra a week, or I can't remember. It's been a while. But I do remember that when Joe Biden came in, that rose to $600 a week, and it was given for an extended period of time, a long time. People were getting this money for, I think it lasted for maybe around a year and a half, maybe a year, close to 2 years for some people. And a lot of different loopholes were left open. Plus, we had the PPP, the Paycheck Protection, and pretty much this quantitative easing was money printing that was supposed to keep the economy moving during a time where everything was shut down. So the market correction that was naturally going to happen in the system didn't happen because of this quantitative easing. And as a result of doing too much of it, we ended up with inflation. We ended up with a lazy workforce. We were introduced to DEI and all these other initiatives, and all these laws just begin to change. And some of those things are a different subject, but the inflation was supposed to be transitory, but it wasn't. I never thought it was. And I've done videos on that, so definitely go check that out. And then we fast forward to, let's say 2023 and 2024. We start to get jobs reports, and it looks like the economy is strong. Joe Biden says he wants to add 80,000 new IRS agents. The rest of the federal government continues to hire at record numbers. And it seems like the U.S. economy, and it seems like many people like myself and other YouTubers, we just didn't know what we were talking about, because this doomsday that we were preaching about, this market correction, never happened. Now, at this time in history, we can honestly say that a portion of that is because of how many people the federal government was funding, as hiring, how many people they added, and how long they allowed this quantitative easing to go on. After a while, Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve, who was implanted in that position from President Trump, the interest rates were taken up in an attempt to slow down the American consumer. But at this time, people were so addicted to the money that they were receiving and addicted to the lifestyle, this new lifestyle that millions of Americans had never experienced, where they had more money than they had ever made on their own. And so even though we raised interest rates, which makes borrowing money much harder and much more expensive, which causes people to hold their money, that's not what the American consumer did. I think by this time, people had formed such bad habits with money even before the sickness, but especially after receiving all of this free money and living life to the fullest, that nothing was going to stop people from spending. Currently, we're still in that type of mindset. We still have that same type of mindset with the American consumer. It was around 2022, 2023 when I started doing videos about the car market and how that was one of the early warning signs of the economy having some problems. People, thank you for joining. When you come in, please do me a favor, hit the like button. I appreciate you being here. But I've got several videos on my channel talking about the car market and talking about how people were signing. First of all, banks were giving away loans that people couldn't afford. People were getting cars that were overpriced, and people were trying to over leverage their credit and living off of that credit. And once word got out that the banks and the car market was allowing people to really, let's say one of the most famous cars during the pandemic, which is a Scat Pack. People were getting Scat Pack, Benzes, everything. Once word got out, everybody wanted to try their luck at getting a brand new car. So people went out and they said, well, I'm getting approved for it. And they started buying cars. And after the hold on semiconductors during the sickness of 2020, 2019, you know what sickness I'm talking about. Car prices hit the roof. But it's also the law of supply and demand. And even though cars that used to be $30,000, $40,000 jumped to $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, it still was not enough to slow down the American consumer. Let me just be very honest real quick. There is no way for us to be in the financial situation that we're in right now in this country without holding the American consumer responsible as well. Not all of us, but a good portion of us. And I'll say this and then we'll continue to move on. If you didn't know, your debt is a part of the national debt. Every debt that you don't pay is a part of the national debt. So we all have responsibility to be responsible. But that's not what we've seen since quantitative easing started in the economy around 2020, 2022, 2023. Just money printing from the Federal Reserve and the US government. And then we started to see rental prices increase. Inflation hit and grocery prices increase. And according to the experts, or the government, not the experts, the government was saying that this was transitory and it wouldn't last long. And eventually, everything would return to normal. When you come in, do me a favor, hit the like button. I appreciate you in advance for hitting the like button. Doesn't take long, but it does help me out a lot. So now people have formed a bad habit because most people had more money than they had ever had in their life. And people were living it up. They were going on vacations. And now we can see that the US government, the Biden administration, was fluffing up the economy to make it seem like it was a lot stronger than what it really is. We can still feel it, According to most, right before the presidential election, go figure, ironically, inflation began to drop a little bit, which it always seems like people get their act together right before there's an election. But now we see inflation ticking up. And now, if you didn't know, the stock market has been dropping for about over a week. It's been pretty bad, real bloody in the markets. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice, but I can tell you that I started investing in the stock market when TD Ameritrade went live on the internet. We didn't have it on our phones. This was around 2010, 11, 12, around that range. But you could download an app and you could trade yourself instead of going to a broker. That's when I started trading on the stock market. And I started buying Bitcoin in 2013, 2014, 15. And I bought dozens of them then when they were 4, 5, 6, 7, up to around $6,000 a coin, in that range. So I've learned some things over that time. And right now, not only is the stock market dropping and has been dropping for a couple weeks now, don't quote me on that, but a couple weeks, it's been doing it for longer than that. But this last drop has been pretty significant. And not only is it the stock market, it is the crypto market. I just saw $79,000 per coin on Bitcoin. I just saw $79,000 a coin, and around 2.5 weeks ago, Bitcoin hit a new high at $109,000 a coin. So it has dropped from 109 to $79,000 in that short period of time, which is somewhere around $30,000 per coin. Now, usually with Bitcoin, we see a drop. We see Bitcoin become stable. Like I said, I've been doing this since 2013, 14, 15. We see Bitcoin become stable, and then we see a drop. And it stays there for a few months, not really long. And then we see a surge, and it hits a new high. That is the only information we really have on Bitcoin as far as a pattern is concerned. Do me a favor, hit the like button if you're still here. Just hit the like button for me real quick. I greatly appreciate it. And the comment section is open. So definitely, if you have something to say, I will be responding to your comments throughout this stream. So that's as much of information we have on Bitcoin right now, is that we usually see a pattern where it stays consistent, then it jumps, then it drops, then it jumps again and it stays consistent, then it drops, and then it jumps again, then it stays consistent, then it drops. And okay, there's absolutely no way for me to tell you when that's going to happen, but we're in one of those moments now. So I'm not sure what if you have Bitcoin, if you're trading Bitcoin or not. But what I've been doing is I have been taking all of the money that I make per week, a good portion of it, mass majority of it. I have been buying more Bitcoin, and they've opened it up where you can borrow from your Bitcoin on Coinbase. So then I borrow from my Bitcoin to pay my bills, to go out and have maybe do something or buy some groceries or whatever I need to do. And then when I get paid the next time, I pay that off and then reborrow within the same hour. On that day that I get money, which is several days a week how I get paid, I buy some more Bitcoin and then I borrow immediately to my Coinbase card. So that way I can go pay bills and take care of what I need to take care of. And that's not possible for most people at first until you get a good amount of Bitcoin on Coinbase. I would say at least 15, I would say, let's just say $1,000 or so, where you can borrow from that Bitcoin and then go pay bills, do what you need to do. And then when you get paid the next time you take your check, you pay off that loan, which if you pay off that loan and you add a little bit more, that means you're always growing your Bitcoin. So your wallet and your value is always growing, even though Bitcoin is dropping. If you keep that up while things are dropping, you can see major gains when things return back to normal or increase greatly. So that's what I've been doing. Now, I've been doing something similar with stocks, dollar cost averaging, buying different stocks that are dipping. Tesla is hurting really bad right now. Elon Musk is dealing with a lot of people attacking Tesla from every direction. But according to the Federal Reserve, and this is what the key point in this video, according to the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve, they came out and they said that recession in the United States is imminent. Okay, so we haven't heard Jerome Powell or the Federal Reserve be this blatant about recession. I don't think ever. Most of the time he's playing politics and he really won't come out and say much. But he has said that recession is imminent, meaning it could start at any time. Now, keep in mind that the Biden administration decided that they wanted to change the definition of recession. So we've long past met the prerequisites for recession, but with the power of the pen and the power of the president, the Biden administration decided to change the definition of said recession. So I guess we're not in a recession, but it's definitely felt like a recession for quite a while. And now we have Jerome Powell coming out and the Federal Reserve saying that recession is imminent. Now, a lot of people are going to say this because of tariffs. I believe the tariffs do have something to do with the stock market, but not as much. Again, these market corrections, these dips in the market is a healthy part of the process, and it happens every so often. But it's during these times where prices can drop as a result of, let's say, the inventory rising in the housing market. There was a time where you couldn't find a new house anywhere. Now, there are several houses around my neighborhood that have been on the market for 7, 8, 9 months. Nice houses. These houses are $600,000, $700,000 houses in North Carolina. which, depending on where you're from, $700,000 house in North Carolina may be a $2.5 million house, $3 million house in LA. It's a really nice house. A lot of square footage, several floors, great yard, extra land. You know, you got your little piece of land. And these houses have been sitting on the market for extended periods of time. There are new rentals entering the market in North Carolina, which has one of the hottest real estate markets right here in my home state. We have one of the hottest real estate markets in the Raleigh-Durham area. Just take a look at it. We have one of the hottest real estate markets in the Raleigh-Durham area. And right now, there are rentals and houses for sale that have been on the market for months. Nobody even wants to move out of the place that they're in. I took a look and called some rentals. And when I tell you that the prices on these rentals seem to be 40 to 50% higher than the numbers that we were paying in 2019, it's ridiculous. And of course, the income has not kept up. When you come in, do me a favor. Don't just watch, join the conversation in the comment section. And do me a favor, hit that like button for me. I appreciate you. Hitting that like button helps my content reach other people. Definitely go check out some other content on my page. But I can tell you now, and maybe I'll do a video of me just riding around showing some of these houses. They have been sitting on the market for 7 to 8 months. I have slowly seen and been checking these prices, and the prices have been dropping slowly by, let's say, I'm just gonna put a flat, clean number out there. This is not what they cost, but this is what I'm gonna use for the example. Let's say a house was there for $2,000 a month, a rental. I would go check the price, maybe call the person and say, hey, how much is it renting for? Knowing that I'm not gonna move right now, but just trying to get some information. And they would say $2,000 a month. And I was like, okay, thank you. I just wanted to get some information. If it's something I want to do, I'll give you a call back. A month later, call them back. It's $1,800. A month or two later, call them back. Or look on Zillow, and now it's $1,600. The prices are beginning to drop across the country. So we're starting to see these things happen in the U.S. economy, guys. If you want to know whether or not I'm telling the truth, take a look into your local area. Go check it out. Go see what the prices of the houses are if people are dropping prices. Pay attention as you're driving around and see if houses in your neighborhood or the places that you drive regularly are sitting on the market and not being rented or not being sold. You don't have to take my word for it. You really don't. You really can look in your own local area, because again, I'm in North Carolina, the Raleigh-Durham metro area, and we have one of the hottest real estate markets in the area. So I'm assuming that most of you who don't live here may see things, even maybe seeing signs that showing a worse housing market than what we have. Or maybe they just been lying about our housing market and not telling the truth. But Jerome Powell has come out and said that recession in the U.S. economy is imminent, meaning it could happen at any moment. Jobs are being lost. Everybody's trying to say that's just Doge. It's not true. Tech companies have been laying people off for around 2.5 years now. Facebook, everybody. I don't want to go down the whole list, but the tech industry has been hit extremely hard. So this is not something that just happened as a result of Donald Trump and Elon Musk. This is definitely something that has been growing and building for an extended period of time. So guys, I didn't see any comments on this live. I was looking to see if anybody had anything to say. I just wanted to give you that little piece of information. Go to my channel, hit the like button on this video when you see it. Go to my channel and check out some of my videos. And like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.